playoff series are always about adjustments. I'm just wondering if you have any idea how the Celtics might come back.
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me about our adjustments, and I was going to say if I had $1 for every time we talked about adjustments. Obviously, we're not going to talk about what we're doing so that they can hear it. So we can speculate about it. I think, there's, the shot profile for both teams has varied from game to game. Sometimes that's less a function of what you want to do offensively is what, a defense, gives you the opportunity to do. I think that we're going to just see a really, really competitive game. There's certain things that they've gone to, screening actions with smalls. We have to anticipate some of those things and defend those off-ball screens. Jason Tatum's always, a handful in so many different ways in the court. So we have to prepare for, I feel like we've prepared for, what we've seen from a scouting standpoint. They ran different actions, last game than they did, as far as volume the previous couple games. So I think you have to know how you want to guard everything and then be prepared to adjust during the game, which we've done, sometimes more successfully than others. They've shot the ball extremely well. So giving up those open catch and shoot threes is hard. I felt we were fortunate last game, as well as they shot the ball, and we made shots last game. So, but on the whole, as the series progresses, there's teams get to know each other more and more, and I think the physicality and we talk about precision and force, and I think that's what this game will be about for us. Can we be that precise with our spacing? Can we be forceful with how we run and rebound? And, can we shoot the ball aggressively? When we feel like we've got a good shot. Sometimes a shot early in the clock is the best shot you're going to get against these guys because they do such a good job of shrinking the floor, and when their defense is set, it's hard to get to the rim. So, some broad strokes there.
You talk about that physicality. I know, one of the specialties this season has been getting to the line, but I feel like last game I think you guys got to the line like 16 times, but game before that 8. Like, how important is it to have that physicality and try to draw some of those fouls too, especially on the offensive side?
Yeah, some of that's how the game's officiated. It's the playoffs. So I think the more aggressive you are in attacking, the greater the probability that that's going to happen. I think one of the key things is, adjusting to the game. And that's part of what we're talking about, that understanding that the game is going to be physical. There's going to be illegal screens. Those are going to happen, and you can't die on a screen. I should say there's going to be good screens, that are physical, and you have to be. A lot of times it involves communication as much as anything, and anticipation. So. They're a terrific team, and they're hard to guard. They have, so many guys, and so many guys making. Grant Williams comes in and just starts banging threes. Derek White's been terrific, even off the dribble. So, we know every night, every game, that we've got our work cut out for us. And try to prepare, from that point, that place.
Coach, just sticking with the whole physicality conversation, is there a need to have conversations about just finding that balance with physicality and crossing the line? Because when you look at all the playoff series, there's been physicality has become an issue where it's led to players getting tossed and suspended and things of that nature.
I think this has been a clean series. I think both teams have played hard. I have a lot of respect for Joe and their players. Marcus plays hard. He plays hard. You got to play hard. That's why he's good. And in our city, I can see that. As a general, I'm completely, watching games and stuff. I think, in our series, people are, physical isn't necessarily, wrong. It's part of the game, and you can be physical. I think the word aggressive for me is as much as anything, and both teams have done that, and I think our expectation is it'll be like that again tonight.
Quin, it seems like last game, the pace that you guys were able to play with throughout the game and touching the paint was something that was able to offset a lot of those made threes. Is that something that you want to see more of in today's game?
That's a good question. I think sometimes there's a perception that you're, wanting a certain shot because that's the shot that's available. And I think what it really is, one, it's making the right read. Sometimes you get a good shot and the ball doesn't go in. And the second thing is, you have to work. There's a line there where you don't want to, just capitulate to what a defense is giving you. That's we get back to being aggressive and trying to, impose your will, whatever that looks like in a given possession, to try to be able to do the things that you believe that, are your strengths. And, like I said, this is, even a point in the series where teams continue to get to know each other better, and that gets harder, and that's where the reads come in. Is it take away the 3-point line or take away the rim? It's taking away the rim looks really good if you shoot 20% from the 3-point line. So there's a balance there, I really believe, and sometimes getting to the rim is the very thing that opens up the threes. You double Jason Tatum and they ping it around and Derek White hits a three. You don't double Jason Tatum, he shoots a step back and he hits a three. Which one is right or wrong is often hard. You just do the best you can and try to execute defensively in all those situations.
Hey, Q, over here. What's an aggressive shot? I've heard of playing aggressively on offense. When you say I want an aggressive shot, what is that?
I think it's, I think oftentimes that players, we talk a lot about making a read before the catch. That you want, in an ideal world, what you want to do before you get the ball. That's, that decision or that read, isn't always successful or correct, but you can pass it, you can shoot it, or you can drive it. And I think, aggressive means being confident that, when you have that opportunity that you take it. Even if you miss the last two. I'd rather see it, a guy go 1 for 9, 1 for 8, than 1 for 2, if that's the shot that's available. Because I think if you stop taking open shots, usually what happens next, particularly against a team that's as good as Boston is defensively, the percentage goes down. So that's, it's tied to, sometimes a contested shot is a good shot. Like when there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock, we never say don't shoot that. So the situation oftentimes dictates, what a good shot is, and shot selection's a big thing, for teams. So we want to be aggressive. We want the guys on our team to allow one another the opportunity to be aggressive. Yeah.
Quin, 40 points off of your bench last game. When you look back at the film, is that just a matter of role players playing better at home, or what did you see from those guys?
Yeah, that's often, that's a lot of people talk about that, experience in the playoffs, being at home. I think there's definitely something to that. We have some guys that this is their first time in the playoffs. We're playing against a team that's very experienced in this setting, and sometimes it takes guys a little time to kind of get their rhythm, get their confidence. But I think the key thing on that you know, it's just, again, that if things aren't, if the result isn't always what you want, sometimes you change what you're doing when what you're doing is good. And you can't be focused on one specific play. So it's, you know, and for us, the other thing about rotations get shrunk. Different guys play at different minutes. You know, the game oftentimes, matchups dictate certain things. So I think for players to be able, you know, to stay focused and be ready to compete at any point in time in the game, because you know, it sounds, you know, coaches say it all the time, you know, be ready. It's true, and especially in the playoffs, you know, because you know, it's collective and it's different.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah.
You had your highest scoring output of the series in second quarter of last game. What worked well for you? Since you won't tell us how to duplicate that, what worked well for you that game?
The ball went in the basket a lot. I mean, honestly, like sometimes it's that simple. You know, you go through some droughts and you hope that when that's happening, you don't compound, you know, those misses, even if they're good shots, with, you know, a turnover or whatever the case may be. And you know, if you can defend, and you're not taking the ball out of the net, if you can not foul, and you know, you have a better chance of generating better offense. You know, so that's something I really feel strongly about our guys understanding, is that, you know, our execution defensively is one of the things that really helps our offense, and by the same token, you know, being efficient on offense and getting good shots, you know, protects us on the other end. Good.
Yep.
Okay.